HEAT is a student learning framework geared towards using technology to develop higher order questioning and learner engagement through real world connections. This framework was developed by Dr. Chris Morch. HEAT stands for Higher Order Thinking, Engaged Learning, Authentic Connections, and Technology Use. This framework provides context to assess student learning experiences at the operational curriculum level. It offers practical descriptors for classroom walkthroughs, peer mentoring interventions, and lesson plan evaluations. This gives students the chance to transfer critical knowledge to situations that involved high levels of engagement, critical thinking, and increased relevance. This framework also promotes inquiry based learning within the classroom. The H in HEAT stands for Higher Order Thinking and 21st Century Skills. As teachers, we typically associate this with Bloom's taxonomy or Webb's depth of knowledge. The higher the level of thinking, the higher on the rubric scale. At the highest levels, students are learning and questioning through evaluating and creating. Students create real-world problems and evaluate in real-world situations as it applies to their learning. The mid-levels of the rubric have students applying and analyzing their learning. And finally, the lowest levels have students remembering and understanding their learning. The E, or engaged learning, looks at intellectual student involvement. Students are active in their learning and within the classroom. At the highest levels of engaged learning, students collaborate within and beyond classroom work and work towards problems and solution goals. Students are in charge of their learning. In the mid-level, students simply solve a problem with no engaged thinking. At the lower levels, students merely report on what they have learned, either alone or with one another. A, or authentic connection, are real-world connections. These are tasks that reflect what might happen in the real world, whether it is issues, themes, or problems. At the highest level, students can work towards creating products that have real-world purpose. This goes beyond the classroom impact. Students' learning is applied to the world. The mid-levels have real-world connections made by students and teachers, but there isn't application. And the lowest levels have no or vague real-world connections. T, or technology, includes both digital and environmental resources to account for limited technology devices in some areas. Environmental resources can be manipulatives, science lab and their tools, guest speakers, etc. In this rubric, the higher levels focus on student use of the digital or environmental resources. The highest level has students self-selecting these resources to accomplish their learning goals and real-world connections. The mid-levels have students using teacher-directed resources or has the teacher leading whole group learning with digital or environmental resources. This can include the teacher leading whole group with an interactive whiteboard. While the lowest levels have students not using resources, not having resources directly connected to the learning, or having resources simply added onto the task. This framework gives way to improve student achievement and improve teaching. The graphic has the highest orders in the middle and the lowest orders on the outer edges. TPACK stands for Technological Pedagogical Content Knowledge. This framework attempts to identify the nature of knowledge required by teachers for technology integration in their teaching while addressing the complex, multifaceted, and situated nature of teacher knowledge. This framework was introduced by Punya Mishra and Matthew Kohler in 2006. TPACK is an important framework because it emphasizes that simply adding technology will not improve education. It emphasizes that there is a relationship and needs to be purposeful blending of technology, content, and pedagogy. There are 7 pillars of TPACK. These are content knowledge, pedagogical knowledge, technology knowledge, pedagogical content knowledge, technological content knowledge, technological pedagogical knowledge, and technological pedagogical content knowledge, or TPAC. CK, or content knowledge, is the teacher's knowledge about what is being taught. This is knowledge like history, science, English language arts. The teacher should know the concepts, theories, ideas, and organizational frameworks behind this content. The PK, or pedagogical knowledge, is a teacher's deep knowledge about the processes and practices of teaching and learning. This is an understanding of how students learn, lesson plans, assessment, and classroom management. Technological knowledge, or TK, is the teacher's knowledge about working with technology tools and resources and thinking about working with the technology. This is the knowledge of basic skills, among others. And pedagogical content knowledge, or PCK, is the transformation of subject matter for teaching. This means that the teacher interprets the subject matter and finds ways to adapt and tailor instructional material for students. PCK covers the core business of teaching, learning, curriculum, assessment, and reporting, such as the conditions that promote learning and the links among curriculum, assessment, and pedagogy. Technical content knowledge, or TCK, is when teachers have an understanding of how technology and content influence and work with one another. Teachers understand that their subject matter can be changed by different technological applications. Teachers know that certain technologies work better for different subjects. Technological pedagogical knowledge, TPK, is the understanding of how teaching and learning change when different technologies are used in different ways. Technological pedagogical content knowledge, or TPAC, is the basis of effective teaching with technology, requiring an understanding of the representation of concepts using technologies, pedagogical techniques that use technologies in constructive ways to teach content, knowledge of what makes concepts difficult or easy to learn, and how technology can help redress some of the problems that students face, knowledge of students' prior knowledge and theories, and knowledge of how technologies can be used to build on existing knowledge to develop or strengthen knowledge. This is the full understanding of how we teach with technology, understanding how to use technology, and understanding how to use it to enhance students' learning. This diagram depicting TPAC is set up in such a way that they intersect. These forms of knowledge are not separate, but representative of deeper understanding. Students in a classroom incorporating this framework use technology cohesively with their content. The SAMR model is a four-tiered model used for technology integration. This model shows the impact of technology on teaching. The tiers stand for substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition. This framework was established by Dr. Ruben Puentedura to share a common language across disciplines as teachers work to differentiate and personalize learning. In this framework, substitution and augmentation are considered enhancement, while modification and redefinition are considered transformation. The S stands for substitution. This means that traditional teaching tools and hard copies are not used and instead replaced with technology. An example of this could be giving students web-based copies of tools instead of the hard copy. Our schools had a great example of giving students a copy of the Constitution electronically versus on paper. Augmentation is when technology increases or augments a student's productivity or potential. This can be something as simple as interactive links. Both substitution and augmentation fall into enhanced learning. Next up is modification and redirection. Both of these fall into transformative learning because they actually change the lesson versus just enhancing or replacing. Technology significantly alters the learning task with modification. Students are using multimedia to create new products or synthesis of existing material. Students also are collaborating at this tier. And then in redirection, integrated technology transforms the student's learning experience. The tools should allow us teachers to truly redefine learning tasks into activities that would never be possible with traditional tools. Here, students are able to collaborate and network with students and professionals from all around the world. This is real life learning. The SAMR model is a framework that shows the impact of technology on teaching. The final framework I want to talk about is the Triple E framework. This is one for educators to measure how well technology tools are integrated into lessons and how it helps students engage in, enhance, and extend their learning goals. Their motto is learning first, technology second. This framework was established in 2011 to address the desire for K 12 educators to bridge research on education technologies and teaching practice within the classroom. With this framework, teachers can easily evaluate technology tools and how they affect learning goals. This leads toward designing learning experiences where the technology has a positive outcome on achievement and learning. Using technology in the classroom should be used with good teaching and pedagogical practices. And the Triple E framework has teachers making the mindful decision on technology use within teaching. The Triple E framework emphasizes active, social, creative, and authentic learning, learning goals, meaningful technology use with significant instructional activities, and instructional strategies, active engagement, social learning through technology tools, promoting student self-reflection, self-assessment, and self-explanation, more real-world problem solving, and creating a no drill in practice. Quality technology versus more technology. Technology as an intellectual and social amplifier, and knowledge being connected with knowledge and authentic texts. There are three components to the Triple E: engage, enhance, and extend. Level 1 is engaged learning. When students are engaged, the technology is helping to keep them active in the content. This framework emphasizes looking for time on task management. Engagement should include social and co-use with technology instead of isolation. Level 2 is enhanced learning. Technology is value added. Learning is enhanced through technology with the tool aiding, assisting, and scaffolding. Learning is personalized at this level. And then level 3 is extended learning. This helps students obtain P21 21st century skills. Technology aids and enhances the ability to create real-world connections. This means learning is extended beyond the classroom and into the real world. Different instructional strategies are broken up within the different levels. Some strategies for engagement include modeling, thinking, and navigation, self-reflective monitoring, purposeful partnering, share clouds, and turn and talk. Some strategies for enhancement include active listening, self-reflective practices, graphic organizers, predicting, differentiation, and turn and teach. And some strategies for extension include real-world issues, connections with authentic experts, student investigating, and using authentic tools in real life. The Triple E framework is a different view of frameworks because it directly focuses on how technology helps learning goals. This is a practical tool that brings instructional strategies, learning goals, and purposeful tools to the classroom.